Again, this is our third and final. Rollback rate in your look at the same as last year. They're now down to 7.0. This year we are proposing to pay more for the 7.0. Also, $103 that was levied. As of the 2018 digest, we only collected 93.21%, totaling $3,924,257 of the $4,209,941 levied. So we have decreased what we even levy by $600,000 and decreased what we're able to collect by over $700,000. I would like to point out, too, that the collections are done by the Spalding County Tax Commissioner. We do have a contract with Ms. Hollums. She's the one that collects our taxes. We do not collect our own taxes. I have been in communications with her a lot over the past couple of years in regards to how she determines what taxes she collects or what she does for a tax sale. A lot of times, she doesn't seem to have a real rhyme or reason based on 2 or 3 years or 10 years for how long taxes may stay delinquent. Sometimes it's because of estate problems, heir problems, that it takes a lot more to get it sold and have those taxes actually collected. So that is not something that is unfortunately in the control of the city to see how much is collected, but we do try and work closely with her to make sure that we do see those collections as we intend to see them. In 2019, we had a net digest of $601,233,435. This year, it's $618,453,565. 2020 reassessments are $20 million. So those reassessments are what has increased. The actual value of the property has increased, not the millage rate. Unfortunately, the state legislature makes us present it as though it's a tax increase, but the value of people's properties has increased, which is a good thing. So because of that, the current millage rate is 7.083. The rollback rate is 6.843. Revenue budgeted for fiscal year 21 is $4,090,000. This was an estimate that was given back in March and April when we started to present the budget to you in May. In fiscal year 20, we budgeted $3,989,000. Nothing has changed between June when we adopted this rate and now, because we don't know the millage rate until it's set in September. If we collect 100% collections at the rollback rate of 6.843, those collections would be $4,232,000. At 90%, it would be $3,808,000. So we would be short. We're averaging this year, I think we're at about 93% of collections. So we would not make budget if we stay at those collections. Of course, with what we've had happening this year with COVID, we don't expect to make even 90% of collections this year. So revenue budgeted for FY21 with the current rate at 100% collections, we would have $4,380,506. At 90% collections, $3,942,455, which is why staff has to propose that we keep the millage rate the same. In FY20, just as a comparison, we budgeted $3,989,000. At that current rate, at 100%, we would have collected $4,258,000, but our actual collections were $3,856,303, which is, 88% of that. Again, if you look at just revenue, you're only looking at half of what you need to see. You also have to look at expenses. The historical charges for supplies and services has increased drastically since fiscal year of 2005. A single cab truck, for example, was $20,000 in fiscal year 5-6. Now it's $26,000. Asphalt was $49 a ton. Now it's $74 a ton. Concrete was $65 a cubic yard. Now it's $136 a cubic yard. Software maintenance, we didn't even have Cogsdale in fiscal year 5-6, and now it's $136,493.58 a year. So cost of doing business in the city and providing the same services that we have provided in the past has exponentially increased. In addition, there has been claims that we need to cut personnel. That's exactly what we've done since 2005. In 2005, we had 511 full-time equivalent employees. We're down to 440 as of last year. In 2005, our sworn police officers were at 112. As of 2019, they were at 80. Now, I will say most of those that we have lost were just administrative positions where we do feel like we were a little top-heavy, or specialized positions and not your actual patrol officers. Those have barely changed, although we do have so many vacancies right now because we're not paying competitively with other people around us. The last thing I want to mention that we haven't talked about yet is what's going to happen next year if we don't do something different. We will be back in this exact same situation if we don't make some kind of change. What I asked finance to do is pull a property tax on how to calculate what the fair market value property tax would be if the fair market value of the home was $278,165. What the city would get from that kind of valued home is $757.88. If we had 12 properties that were $300,000, the city would receive for one tax year $9,859.54. That's a difference of $9,137.66. If we do not find a way to grow this tax base, not just by reassessing property values and having what's current increase, we will be in the same position next year. So I just want to go ahead and point that out, so hopefully we don't have to do that next year. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. O'Connor. Are there any questions from the board?
Okay,
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing at this time. Would anybody like to come and say anything for or against? Please come forward, Mr. Sisk. Your name and address for the record.
Thank you. Kirby Sisk. I live at 132 East College Street. I did just want to come and address the group and just, because I've had a lot of people say this is just not the right timing for this. We're in a pandemic economy, and raising taxes, which is really what this is just not the right time for that. I understand that we've got costs that are going up, everybody does, and I know the city has done a good job of containing costs and being good stewards of the resources they have. I think the messaging to the community would be much better if we had some way, maybe from the city staff, Jessica or Kenny, to be better at publicizing that we have taken these cuts over the last 10 years. We have, these costs have gone up. I know this, you know this, and people that have come to these meetings know that. But there's a lot of people out in the community that don't know that. And they just see, oh gosh, another tax increase in Spalding County, another tax increase in the city of Griffin. I think I'm going to Pike County. You know, there's a bunch of folks that have left here and gone to Pike County because the perception is the taxes are higher. I've been here for a little while. I don't have the perception yet. But things like this drive that perception. So if there's some way to do that, either through the newsletter every week or do a special stewardship newsletter or something in Facebook, whatever it is, something positive in Facebook, there's a new thing, to publish something like that to let people know in the city that we are being good stewards of the money that we have. That makes a tax increase a lot easier to do. Right. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Before you sit down, and I really appreciate
Yeah.
you volunteering to serve on boards and coming down and giving your comments. When you say you understand it, what's going on, I think we have had 3 public hearings on this matter. We put it out here for the world to see. It's online. I think a lot of times people don't want to hear that information, or they take misinformation and run with it.
Really?
I think, and I know you, Griffin High School class of 1988, so it's going to take people like you and I, that when we hear people make those comments, that we've got to step up and say, no, this is what's really happening. This is what's going on. I got stopped in the street, Kroger, the other day. A lady was telling me about what's going on downtown and how terrible it is. And it happened with no thought at all. We didn't think it out. We just took some money to raise her rates so that we could put this stuff down here that doesn't even matter. Nobody wanted this. Yeah. And when you explain to them what happened, how it came about, where the money came from, it's a whole different picture. So I think we and I agree with what you're saying.
Rodney, I've had that conversation 1,000 times in the last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah,
really.
But that's I don't think you're ever going to be able to reach social media and compete with social media, because no matter what you say, everybody sits behind their keyboard and will start spitting off facts that are unfactual. Correct. And it's up to us who are in charge, who are stewards, like you said, to try to do what we think is best So I appreciate you coming. I got to go into closed session. I didn't want to
No,
miss
that's-
an opportunity to share with you.
Sure, absolutely, I appreciate that.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Mr. Sis.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming, Kurt.
Is there anybody else that'd like to speak before the board in regards to the millage rate? Anything else from the commissioners? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes,
would
ma'am.
just like to point out that we've had the email address open for several weeks now, where
Yes.
people who could not come to any of the public hearings could send comments through email, and we have not received any as of now.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Okay. Moving into the regular agenda, consider resolution adopting the 2020 property tax millage rate of 7.083. Do we have a motion to approve? Ms. Ward with a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Flowers with a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the millage rate of 7.083, please raise your hand. All against, like sign. 7-2 with Ms. Murray. and Mr.
5-2.
I'm sorry, 5-2 with Ms. Murray and Mr. Tinsley voting against. Okay, thank you very much. Next item is to, regular agenda, consider executive session pursuant to OCGA Section 5014-21 for the purpose of meeting with its attorney to discuss pending potential litigation. We have Ms. Ward with a motion. Second. Mr. Tinsley with a second. All in favor, please rise and join us in the conference room. Kirby, thank you.